Hi students, in this video I'll be going through the 2023 O-Level Mathematics Paper 1 question 25. Alright, so this is a question regarding number sequence. Let's read the question. So the sum of the first n terms of a linear sequence is half n times 5n plus 1. Find the first three terms of the sequence. Alright, so let's first understand what this initial statement means. The sum of the first n terms of a linear sequence is given by this formula. Okay, so let me give you an example. Okay, so let's say we n is 4, right? Okay, so if n is 4, it means that we are finding the sum of the first four terms. So essentially the first four terms will be t1. Okay, now we are finding the sum, so it's plus t2 plus t3 plus t4. Okay, so this will be the first four terms. So n will be equals to 4. Okay, because we are summing up the first four terms, right? Okay, so the first four terms will give a sum of half. Okay, so since n is equals to 4, we are going to substitute 4 into the formula. So half times 4 times 5 times 4 plus 1. Okay, so essentially we will get half times 4. Okay, 5 times 4 plus 1 will give us 21. Okay, so half times 4 is 2, 2 times 21, so that will give us 42. So the sum of the first four terms in this sequence is equals to 42. All right. Okay, so this is basically what this first line of the question is saying. Okay, the sum of the first n terms of a linear sequence is given by this formula. Okay, so let's explore part A of the question. Okay, so part A of the question, they want us to find the first three terms of the sequence. Okay, so look here. Let's look carefully. They want us to find the first three terms, not the sum of the first three terms. Okay, if it's the sum of the first three terms, then it's going to be very easy, right? N will be equals to 3. Okay, then we just sub 3 into the formula. Okay, but now they want us to find the first three terms of the sequence only. That means they want us to specifically find what is T1, what is T2, and what is T3. Okay, so if you think about it, it's actually rather easy to find T1 because if we just want T1, okay, so it's just one term, right? So it will be, in other words, the sum of the first one term, okay, which is just the first term itself. So in this case, n will be equals to 1, right? N will be equals to 1. Okay, so we can actually just sub n equals to 1 into the formula, and then we can straight away find the first term already. So we'll put half. Okay, n is now 1 times 1 times 5 times 1 plus 1. Okay, so we'll get half times 1 times 6. Okay, so the answer will be 3. Okay, so in other words, the first term will be 3. Okay, so we can also just write it inside the bracket here. The first term will be 3. Okay, so now we have successfully found the first term. Okay, so let's think about how we can find the second and the third term. Okay, so if we want to find the second term, okay, this formula only allows us to find the sum of the first n terms, right? So if we want to find the first two terms, okay, so the second term, so we will need to find the sum of the first two terms first. Okay, so when we are summing up the first two terms, then now n will be equals to 2. Okay, so we can sub n equals to 2 inside the formula. So we have half times 2 times 5 times 2 plus 1. Okay, so we have half times 2 is 1, then 5 times 2 plus 1. So this gives us 11. Okay, so the first two terms, T1 plus T2 is 11, right? T1 plus T2 is 11. Okay, so if you look at the first, this one, this 9 and this 9, T1 itself is 3. T1 plus T2 is 11. Okay, so in other words, what can we say? T1 is 3, right? So in other words, we can say that 3 plus T2 will give us 11. So this would mean that T2 is going to be 8. So this allows us to find the second term, T2. Okay, so judging for going by this logic, it should not be difficult for us to find what is T3, right? Okay, because if we want T3, okay, if we want T3, we will just need to find the sum of the first three terms. Okay, and then we will take away the first two terms. We already know what's the first two terms, 3 and 8, right? Okay, so in this case, n will be equals to 3. Okay, so you have half times 3 times 5 times 3 plus 1. Okay, so you have half times 3 times 5 times 3 plus 1, 16. Okay, so this would give us 8 times 3, so it's 24. Okay, so T1 plus T2 plus T3 equals to 24. Then we can substitute in the T1 and T2, and then we'll be able to find T3. Okay, so T1 is 3, T2 is 8, T3 is what we want to find. Okay, so T3 will just be 24 minus 11, 3 plus 8. Okay, which will give us 30. Right? So this is how we find the three terms. Okay, so whenever you read the question, you got to read it carefully and then understand what it means before you start to try to solve it, right? Okay, let's look at part B of the question. Okay, part B of the question wants us to find in terms of n, right, expression for the n term of the sequence. Okay, so over here, the sequence here, we have T1, T2, and T3, right? So now they want us to find what's the formula for Tn. Okay, and then just write it down in the space, in the answer space. Okay, so over here you can see that 3, 8, 13. Okay, so what do you notice about this pattern? Okay, basically going from one term to another, we are adding 5, right? So this is a common difference, okay? Common difference. So to find the n term for common difference is actually very, very easy, okay? You just need to know the method behind it, okay? The method behind it. Okay, so if you always see plus 5, okay? So it's very easy to get the n term expression for the n term, okay? So you can do it within 10 seconds, okay, once you know how the method behind it. Okay, so the moment you see plus 5, you straight away write 5n already. Okay, then behind you will either add or minus something, but how do we get the thing that we want to minus? Okay, you just imagine if there's a T0, a term before this. Okay, what would T0 be? Remember, from T0, I need to plus 5 to get T1, right? Okay, so to get T0, I will take 3 minus 5, so you'll get negative 2. Once you get this, you just add the negative 2 behind. Okay, so this is the method to obtain the n term expression for the n term very quickly. Okay, so the answer will be 5n minus 2. Okay. Okay, so if you want to find out more about this method, okay, I've actually done a video a couple of months ago, okay, earlier on this. Okay, I explained the rationale behind how this thing works. Okay, so I'll put the link in the description. So be sure to watch the description if you want to find out more about how to obtain the expression for the n term of a sequence with a common difference. All right. Okay, so I hope this video has been helpful for you in learning how to solve this question.